This laptop here is the Corsair Voyager A1600. This is a last year model laptop from Corsair. It actually got pretty bad reviews on release, and I've been seeing that the reviews are still pretty bad overall into 2023. We're coming into 2024 at the end of the year. This laptop was panned basically not for build quality, not for performance, not for anything really to do with the hardware, but it was panned for software issues. I picked this laptop off Amazon directly for 1,000 Canadian dollars brand new, which is about 720 American dollars, which is really cheap for what it has in it. This laptop here comes with an AMD 1600HX processor, which is a fantastic processor from last year, still incredibly capable in 2023, 2024. This one here is equipped with a very capable GPU, the AMD 6800M. I've reviewed the 6850 MXT in the Lenovo Legion, which is basically the exact same GPU. This one here is a little bit of a lower wattage variant here. It can boost up to 120 watts. It actually looks like a pretty big laptop overall, but it's not. It's not a big laptop by any means. It's actually a very thin laptop. Looks big, you know, basically from the front of it because it's got this kind of weird hinge thing going on with it. But realistically, it's actually as thin as some of the ThinkPads out there and some of the more thinner laptops. So this is a weird one because it does have weird software issues. What you're going to see in this review, I'm going to go over some of the software quirks with it. Again, this has been out for a while now, and there has been a lot of driver updates in that. And I found that, you know, with a little bit of tweaking, this laptop is actually very capable, and I've basically got over all of the weird software stuff. There is some software tweaks you're going to have to do with this laptop when you first get it. Just tweak a few things here and there to really get it running optimally. Once you do that, it is an incredible performer and has a lot of advantages to this laptop as well. I've been using this as a daily driver actually for a couple weeks now. I'm actually very impressed with this laptop, but there are some software issues with it. So it's not something that, you know, if you're a new user just looking for an easy laptop, you don't want to pick this up because it is going to be a pain in the butt to get these things going. But I mean, with some online forums and that, you can get them sorted pretty easily. Nothing is groundbreaking about this laptop, but there are some things to be aware of. There is the actual laptop itself. Plastic wrap on it. Yeah, $23.91, so a little over 5 pounds, probably 5.3 pounds or something like that. Put up on the screen. Gunmetal, very, very dark gunmetal, not quite black, but it's going to obviously be a fingerprint magnet because of that brushed metal type design there. Nice metal bottom too, so it's an all metal design, which is nice. Rubber feet in that. It's actually, it looks thicker than it is, but it's got this like very bezeled, cut bezeled. It's actually not that thick, to be honest. It's not a very thick laptop. In the pictures, it actually looks much thicker than it is. It's not thin, like an Ultrabook or something like that, but it's pretty thin. Okay, let's have a look at the I/O. On the left side here, we have a Kensington lock slot, the power in, the primary power in. If you're going to be playing games, you use that. Headphone, microphone combo jack. You get two USB-C on this side, and both of them are Thunderbolt 3. They still have the same bandwidth as Thunderbolt 4, so you're still going to get 40 gigabyte per second. And you can power off of them, so you can do power in off of either of these here, and they're also Thunderbolt, so very good I/O on the left side here. Nothing on the back, just your vents out. On the right side here, we have a USB-A. There's only one USB-A on this laptop. That's the only negative, I would say. It's on the right side, but then you get another USB-C. It's not a Thunderbolt. It's just a standard Gen 3.2. Gen 2 or whatever they are, so just decent speed. And then you get a little SD card there if you care about SD cards. So pretty good I/O. You get 3 USB-C, 2 of which are Thunderbolt 3, which is very good for an AMD laptop. You do get the USB-A there, which is nice as well. So I often just have this little dongle thing plugged in here. And then you also get your power in that too. So actually for a thin laptop, again, this laptop for some reason seems much thicker when you see it in pictures. It just looks like a gigantic laptop. And for a thin and light gaming laptop, it has really good I/O. I mean, this is around little over 5 pounds, around the 5 pound mark, and very, very thin. So you're not going to get, crazy I/O on it. No HDMI or anything like that, unfortunately. But you do get 3 USB-C and a USB-A. Got that little bit more retro style gamer vibe with the big gap under there, which does raise the screen up. Some people may like that, some may not. It does add more butt to the laptop, but at least it's being used, right? It's got this kind of screen here with all these controls in there, and that little LCD type thing. We'll see what it is. Gigantic trackpad, really, really big trackpad here, and keyboard, nice keyboard. We'll talk about the keyboard after. Power and that, so big speaker grills on the side, probably just design, and metal top there. So it looks very premium, to be honest. Kind of reminds me of the, I think it's 2021 or 2022, HP Omens kind of has that type vibe up there. Camera shutter up here. Okay, let's have a look inside of the laptop now. Just fingernail, basically. Comes off. Nice metal bottom there. These are just structure pieces there to keep it from wobbling inside. Heatsink on the NVMe. Heatsink on the NVMe. So spoiler, there's dual NVMe inside this laptop. But you can see here that it has 2 spots where there's going to be NVMe's. Nice big intake there. And there is the inside of the laptop there. We can see. Looks pretty good, all things considered. Nice, huge battery. 99 watt hour battery. It says it's rated for 96, but typical is 99 watt hour. So it's probably 99 watt hour. Speakers there, decent size. They're going to be up firing. No down firing speakers on this one, so you're not going to get bouncing off the table, but it should come right at you. Dual NVMe. So the first one you get here on the left side, second one on the right side here, a PM9A1. So that's actually a that's basically a 980 Pro OEM version, basically there. So nice fast SSD. We'll put that when we get to the benchmark session. You'll see the speeds, but I believe that's a 980 Pro. 2 RAM slots here, 1 and 2. Looks like they actually put name brand like off the shelf RAM in here. So Corsair DDR5. I believe that it is going to be 4800 megahertz. So RAM in there. Nice big fans there. You can see going to evacuate pretty well. And this is a vapor chamber here. So I don't know how well it's going to cool. It's not a full wattage 6800M. I think it's 120 watts. So I had the Legion 140, and I know they can get up to 150 and like some Alienware in that. So should run pretty good. Overall, pretty good. I mean, you get your Wi-Fi there too. It says Foxconn Wi-Fi, so upgradable Wi-Fi. You can add more storage there easily, and then 2 dual RAM slot there, and then of course there's the vapor chamber here. So later I'm going to try maybe taking this off here and doing some PTM to it. It is a vapor chamber, but there's still going to be heat sinks and that on there too, so might take that off. But overall looks pretty good inside, all things considered. Okay, and there's the new SSD that I installed. Obviously that's working just fine. You can see it there, and that's good. So yeah, the RAM runs at 4800 megahertz, which is typical of these 6000 series AMD. That's fine. 6900 HS is a really good processor, 8 cores, 16 threads, awesome. SSD that came with it. This is the SSD that came with it, the Samsung 980 Pro. This is my SSD, the Samsung Rocket. Not in use right now, apparently. So yeah, everything looks like it's working perfectly fine. All right, so let's do the typing test here. This is supposed to be a mechanical keyboard, Cherry MX keyboard, so they say. Rather than using the typical scissor switch that most laptops use, this has a mechanical style switch. We'll see what that means and how it feels. Typical layout here, nothing weird about the layout, just a typical one. And I typed a little bit before, so it does feel kind of interesting. Let's type a little bit more here. Yeah, so that feels very nice. Very, very nice. It would probably take me a few minutes to get used to it. This is like a traditional, like full key switch. So like the actual key caps are large on here, like physically raised up, kind of like ThinkPads from back in the day, which I really do like a lot. That's kind of something that's basically behind us at this point. We don't really see that anymore. So this is really nice, actually. So it would just take me a couple minutes to get used to the raisedness of the keyboard. And I'm sure I could get fast. This has to be one of the best keyboards I've ever used in my entire life. Yeah, I think this is just an absolute phenomenal keyboard. It's just a really interesting feeling keyboard. It feels like exactly what you'd think if you took a mechanical keyboard and then you like modified it to put it into a laptop. That's exactly how it feels, and that's how I would describe it. It feels absolutely fantastic. I think that once I got the hang of it, I think I would get like crazy efficient at this laptop. Trackpad itself is huge, like really, really huge. I don't really have anything to compare it to that I would be in front of me, but I don't know. Let's bring in like a SATA SSD. This is a SATA SSD. This is another SATA SSD. So it's bigger physically than 2 SATA SSDs, about the same height as them, but you actually have like, I don't know, a little over a centimeter there. Navigation is really nice and precise. The click, just overall, just a good click. Not the best in the world, but good, like really, really good. So inputting to this device is actually legitimately fantastic. The keyboard is, it's hard to describe. I mean, I've never used anything like it before, and it feels amazing. Okay, I'm gonna turn it up. So they're up-firing speakers. as we saw when we did the teardown. Okay, yeah, so the speakers, they're not great, to be honest. Again, I've been using this laptop for a while. Speakers aren't great. They lack a lot of the bass. They're actually not very loud either, which is kind of weird. They don't sound bad by any means. They're not bad speakers. It's not like I'm listening to them like, oh, these are bad speakers. They're just like kind of generic, whatever speakers. So the screen here has good color space. We can try to get that down there. So you can see that there's no IPS bleed, at least on my model here at all. So you don't really get any of that. Nice uniform black. Doesn't have the greatest contrast ratio in the world, but the blacks are good, nice and uniform. So yeah, the colors look pretty good on this. It's not a, you know, an OLED or anything like that, and it's not a, you know, 100% DCI-P screen or anything like that, but as I think it's 99 or 100% sRGB. It's very vibrant, not oversaturated. Probably looks weird on camera because it's a very vibrant screen. I've been creating videos and, you know, doing thumbnails and stuff on this laptop, and it's good. Like, it's, again, it's not an OLED, but it's nice and vibrant. Color accuracy is there, calibration is there. It's just a nice screen overall, right? 240 hertz, 1600p screen with good color space and bright enough. Not insanely bright, but bright enough, I would say, as well. So overall, it's one of the better, especially for a gaming laptop. This is by far head and shoulders amongst most gaming laptops that I've used. Overall, I'm quite happy with the screen. The speakers kind of suck. They're like average at best. Like, the speakers definitely something to be desired, but the screen is quite nice. Okay, it's been, I think, about 2 weeks I've been using this laptop. This is a time jump. There may be a little bit of jumping back and forth. The reason is I've actually been using this as a daily driver for the whole 2 weeks. I'm actually very happy with this laptop. You'll see when I get to the end part. So clearly I like it. Otherwise I wouldn't be using it as a daily driver. There are quirks though, software quirks that I talked about in the intro. I am going to go over some of them now. So the first things first here is you do have to get drivers from Corsair. So what you're going to do here is you're going to come into Corsair. Apparently it's just downloads. I'll just zoom in here slightly. So when you're in here, you're in Corsair downloads, you just type in the laptop and it comes up here. You're going to want to get your drivers through here. Unfortunately, some of them are a little bit older. Corsair hasn't been updating this laptop, probably because it had kind of a bad launch. And so, you know, people just absolutely ripped into it for software reasons, not necessarily for hardware, which is justified. And then as a result, I mean, even though some of these things have been fixed, a lot of them have been fixed, realistically, like, Corsair just basically abandoned the laptop, I'm assuming. I would really like to see them keep updating these because, you know, this is actually a very nice laptop. Otherwise I wouldn't be using it. I'm using this instead of my Legion, we'll put it that way. You can get all your drivers here. You know, you can go through here, grab all your drivers, do your updates in here. The one pain in the butt is that, you know, you have your graphics driver here through AMD. You can get your graphics drivers, the most recent fresh graphics drivers for this laptop from AMD. You can just go to AMD Direct and download them, and they work totally fine. The only thing that I found that was quirky is, I don't know if it was just me, but when I did my driver update through AMD, and then I came in here to display, this was stuck at 60. I just couldn't figure it out. There might be a way. Maybe it was just that specific driver, but it just wouldn't work. So I came back and I just put in the Corsair one, which is a little bit of an older driver, but it works totally fine. I've been gaming on this laptop for 2 weeks, like, as my daily driver, like I said. So that works fine. I kind of recommend doing a fresh Windows install when you get this laptop. There's a lot of bloat on it, like a lot of bloat. It came with like all kinds of stuff, like Corsair IQ, which is the only one that I got again. There was like on-screen display, all kinds of crap on this laptop. And you could just take them off, which would work totally fine. But I just do a fresh Windows install. When you do a fresh Windows install, then of course you have to come get these drivers. One other quirk that I did find, it's not necessarily like the problem of the laptop. There is this streaming bar. We'll talk about that in a second. But sometimes when you when you put in, I don't know, if you go to like Discord or something like that, and you're like, why is my system, you know, input or output? You know, I plug in a microphone or something like an OBS, and I was like, why is it not recording it? It'll go by default to this. It's called like the Stream Deck. This is a Stream Deck, literally built into the laptop. So if you're a streamer, this is awesome. This like kind of Stream Deck thing here, but it will automatically go to that. So you just have to come in here and change it to your speakers or change it to your microphone. I guess that's people wanted to do that because it's like the streaming device here. It's not something I care about, but I guess some people do. So this here is the IQ software. You can get, you know, a lot of measurement type stuff in here. There's some different cool things you can do in here. I mean, I kind of got rid of a lot of the crap in here because I just didn't need it all. Like, I don't need all this extra stuff in here, so that's fine. You can do some, you know, you have your RGB here. You can come in here and you can set up your RGB. So you have your little keyboard section here. So the cool part here is this. I'll see if I can get it all in frame. It's this kind of macro software here. So you can see that there's these up here. I don't remember if I set them or not. No, I think, yeah, I did. Okay, so you can hear that garbage pail sound. That's like a Windows 98 recycling sound. So you can come in here and you can set these. So you can come in here and you can go, like right now they're yellow. You can change the color. It's actually a really ugly color, to be honest. I really don't like that yellow. Okay, so now I've made them purple. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can customize however you want. There, that's just the color themselves. Oh, there's a little on-screen display here. I think that's here. Yeah, so right now I have it set up as, if you can see it, CPU load, or GPU load is what I have it as. I just was messing with it earlier. Yeah, you can come in here and you can make this little screen here. So I think by default it's like the clock or something. Let's go, like you can name it, system info, clock. So now it says 10:30 p.m. Is that right? Yeah, so 10:32 p.m. So you can just make it into a clock. I might actually leave it like that because that's more useful for me. But you can do all kinds of stuff. Like you can go like that and you can give it a background. I think look at that. Isn't that just kind of inappropriate? Now I have a little Legion wallpaper in there. So I mean, this is cool stuff, right? Like, I mean, I'm not normally into this kind of stuff, but it gets to the point where it's actually pretty cool. You can, you know, like I said, you can put in widgets here, system info, 6900, how much CPU load am I on my battery? I could just, you know, have my battery in there, 100%. I think this is what I normally use, battery. Yeah, that's, oops. And then the other part is here, you can go key assignment. So I assigned these, I think, to be a recycling sound. S3, I don't remember what I did, S3. Yeah, Windows 98 login. I was just messing with it. This one is a recycling, which is cool if you're like, if you actually play online and you stream and you're like a competitive FPS shooter person, and then you just like, I don't know, murder someone, you can just be like trash. Take out the trash. Okay, so like 4, you know, you can come in here and I don't know, we can just make it do something. So I can click 4 like that, and then you pick what you want it to do. Here's all kinds of stuff in here. You can do voice changer. Oh, you can do voice changer. Oh, cool. You can do like a voice mod, background music. You can turn it on and off. Like there's a million things you can do. Cooling mode. You can do much more useful things than what I'm doing with it. If you are actually a streamer, I mean, and you know, you play games on your laptop, there is a lot of cool stuff you can do in here. Launching apps. You can do keystroke macros, right? Like there's all kinds of cool stuff you can do in here. Mouse macros, like there you go. So it's cool software. It's actually really useful. So IQ is useful. I debloated everything off of the laptop, everything. Put back on all the drivers, of course. And then I did reinstall IQ because I like this macro thing. And IQ doesn't seem to be killing the battery. Once you close it, it's done. Like it goes away. I think it comes down here. But it doesn't seem to really massively affect battery. Like I just forgot that it's on before. I don't even have it launching at Windows. And you can just have it down here. And it doesn't seem to make a huge difference. That it's running. If you do kill it off, then I think those macros will stop working. The primary thing that you're going to want to be aware of with this laptop is that you are going to want to debloat most of the crap off of it. Just leave IQ so that you can control those things, if you care, control those things there, which you might as well put them back on. You don't need the rest of that crap that's on there. You do want to get the drivers directly from Corsair, and then you get your Windows stuff after that. I don't even know if you can update through IQ. I wasn't able to figure out if you can update the laptop through, but it didn't seem like you could. So yeah, there you go. That's the software stuff. There's a lot of quirks with this laptop that people have talked about online, and I just basically solved them. Either do a fresh Windows install or just delete most of the crap that comes on the computer, reinstall IQ, and you're good to go. Update your drivers once you do this little dequirking thing. So when you first pick up this laptop for 1,000 Canadian dollars or 700 American dollars, which is insanely cheap, do expect that you're going to need to spend, I don't know, half an hour just cleaning it up, getting all the crap off, doing a fresh Windows install, which you should do anyways on laptops, and then you're good to go. That's something that you're going to have to be aware of, though. Okay, and here's a look at the webcam. It's not the best webcam, to be honest. It's not that great. For a gaming laptop, it's probably fine. This isn't the, like, I don't have a lot of lighting. It's pretty dark, so it could be a lighting issue. Let's go like this here, bring in some better light. Yeah, I mean, if you have decent light, it's going to do okay. That's a light shining directly on my face. Oh, there it goes. It seemed to figure out what was going on. a little bit better. I guess if you have a very lit room, it would be okay. In a darker room, yeah, it seems to be struggling a little bit here. It'll suffice for like a meeting or that kind of thing. I mean, it's a gaming laptop, but if you have meetings in that, it'll be fine, but it's certainly nothing special. Okay, we are in some Cinebench here. We're doing some runs. So we can run it in silent mode. We can run it in performance. Let's check out the silent mode and see how quiet it is. So this is silent mode. While running Cinebench, not fully silent, but it is quieter. Go into balanced, or whatever they call it. It does get quite a bit louder. And now we'll go into performance mode, which gets pretty loud. It's not a super annoying noise, but it does get loud when you're performance mode. It's a very thin laptop, like I said, despite looking thick, it is very thin. So
here's a look at some benchmarks. So you can see here I did some Cinebench runs, and we were getting a really good score on the CPU here, 14,000 pretty much on the dot there. There's a little bit of a high temperature warning for a maximum, but overall the average was not terrible. Time Spy we did here, you were getting also pretty good scores. CPU 10,000 is quite good. Graphics is 10,685. That's actually pretty good for the wattage on this. This is a 6800M, but it's not a 150 watt that you can find on some of the Alienware ones. So, you know, we're throwing in with those into the scores here. We're doing pretty well, all things considered. And then I did it on balance instead of performance, and we actually only dropped a little bit in terms of GPU and CPU score running on balance. So in a lot of cases, if you can get away with it, balance is great because you're still going to get good performance, but it's considerably quieter. Wi-Fi on the laptop is very fast. This is as fast as my Wi-Fi can possibly go. So, I mean, maybe it can go faster, but that's as fast as my Wi-Fi goes. Here's a major issue that I identify with the laptop, and this is why I recommend debloating the laptop. So when I first got it, you can see how bad the battery life is here. Like, it's not even giving me a warning or an actual amount here. And if you look on the hardware info section there, it's draining at negative 67 watts, which is horrendous, to be honest. It's giving me like 45 minutes to an hour on this laptop. So I couldn't figure out what it was specifically doing it at first. Then I found out that it was just the on-screen display software that basically tells you when you've switched performance mode to balance mode to silent mode. And when I took that off, you can see on this next screen here, the GPU does properly sleep afterwards. And, you know, the battery life went up quite a bit. You can see here we're at 96%. And if you actually look a little bit closer here at the actual time and the amount of draw here, we're only burning about 11 watts on idle at 100% brightness. And that's going to give us like 9 hours. You can see here 512 minutes of battery life. That's like 8 to 9 hours of idle. That is very good. And then here's some 1080p 60 YouTube, and same type of thing here. You know, it says, you know, Windows is telling us 5 hours or so, which is probably about right here because we're burning about 15 watts or so watching 1080p YouTube. And that's going to give us, it says 385 minutes. So battery life is very good on this laptop, exceptionally good considering the size of the battery. But you do have to take off that on-screen display because it does seem to really kill battery life for some reason.
okay, and here we are in Hogwarts Legacy, 1600p native ultra. And we're really going to see this 6800M stretch its legs here and impress you. This GPU has a lot of memory bus and memory bandwidth, both. And so Hogwarts likes both of those, so it does very well. Whereas cards like the 4070 even are going to struggle. When I did my test of the 6850 NXT, which was a higher wattage variant of this, versus the 4070 and Hogwarts, the 4070 just got absolutely bullied by the AMD GPU. And we're seeing that here. This is a 100 watt variant, so it's not nearly as high wattage. And look at the performance. 1600p ultra native, just running through Hogsmeade as if it's nothing on a 54 average. 27 is the 0.1% lows, right? CPU, obviously, you know, fairly demanding, but it's going to be a very GPU heavy situation. And, you know, the 6800M is just, it's a monster, really. Like spell casting, no effort for the game, right? No effort for this GPU here. So I mean, right away, boom, there you go, 600p native, just play the game, done. you're going to get fantastic performance. And that's because the 6800M, you know, even if it's a lower wattage GPU and, you know, there's certain games that may not outperform some competitors, when it comes down to it, it has a very large memory bus and very large memory bandwidth, which in a game like this is very important because Hogwarts Legacy I found over the years very much needs that. Let's go and throw it into a more basic mode. So we'll throw it in balanced mode here. Listen to the fans quiet off a bit. Yeah, we're getting a 30 FPS, which is fine. Right? It's not bad. 1600p native balanced mode. Ultra 30 FPS. If you really want to pay quieter. But we can, you know, do a little bit more here. One thing that I do want to point out, I just take a break here. Look at the VRAM. This is being used by the game. This isn't like system level VRAM. This game is now using 8.7 gigabytes of VRAM, right? So if you were to play this on an 8 gigabyte card, say the 4070, RTX 4070, RTX 4060, some variants of the 3080, right? You're going to have issues here. What happens in Hogwarts when you hit VRAM, you either get micro stuttering in some games, you get micro stuttering, your frame drop down like crazy, or you get horrible texture pop in. And in Hogwarts, that's what happens. It basically turns into a PlayStation 1 game, and you just get the worst textures imaginable. So we have almost up 9 gigabytes of VRAM. This 12 gigabyte GPU is really going to excel in these heavy VRAM games, right? Where even 8 gigabytes might be, you're going to need more. This game, Hogwarts, can use a lot of VRAM. Last of Us can use a lot of VRAM. Forza Horizon games can use tons of VRAM. Let's see if we can get it closer to 60, because we're just on balance mode, right? I just want to see if we can get away with it. So we'll just go, let's throw that onto balance, and then let's just turn the settings down by 1 maybe. I just want to see if we can get away with, I'll go apply like that. So that's just high now, and balanced FSR. And let's just see if we can get away with balance close to 60. Yeah, so there you go, right? Oh, it is hitting 60 actually. We have VSync on? Are we just maxing ourselves out here? Okay, so it just happens to be at 60. So there you go. If you want to play on performance mode, just 1600p native and just play. You're going to be totally fine. You can beat this whole game without having any issues. Or if you want to be on balance mode like this, it may pick up louder on the camera, sometimes it does, but this is a very tolerable noise level to me. Like without headphones, it's not going to bother me. And you know, just throw it on high with a little bit of FSR. Turn the settings down by 1, throw it on FSR. The game looks basically the same. I mean, there might be minutiae you can go through and find where it looks different, but realistically it looks about the same. And yeah, 60 FPS. So there you go. Yeah, I don't need to get into like a million games here. We tested Baldur's Gate, which is just a generally demanding game, and we got in here and played some Hogwarts Legacy just to really show off that VRAM, and we got it up to like 8 gigabytes, almost 9 in some cases. It really shows the power of this GPU. It's just a 100-watt variant. You know, it's not a super high wattage variant of this GPU, but it's got the power you need to play games, right? It's doing an amazing job. It's not getting super hot, and most importantly, it's got that VRAM. That 12 gigabytes of VRAM is such a benefit for some of these games like Hogwarts here, where you can really push up the settings. And because it's got that larger memory bus, higher memory bandwidth, you can really let games like Hogwarts Legacy stretch its legs with that extra VRAM. Turn those settings up and you're not going to get that micro stutter that you get on something like a 4070. And so what's my takeaway on the Corsair laptop here? It is a very, very nice laptop. Extremely premium, all metal design, nice and thin. The keyboard is just absolutely outstanding. It is legitimately the nicest keyboard I've ever used in my entire life on a laptop. If you've watched my videos, you know how important keyboards are to me. I type a lot, and you know how much I lean towards certain brands like Lenovo. They have fantastic laptops. Asus actually makes some really nice keyboards as well. This one stands above all of them. It is a fantastic keyboard. I think for gaming purposes, it's also quite compelling too. I've been using this laptop, like I said, for about 2 weeks now. I've been gaming on it pretty heavily as well. The performance is there. It's outstanding. It does get a little warm because it is a thinner laptop. Like, this is not some gigantic, thick gaming laptop. So I think, you know, if you're getting this laptop and you're looking for something and you're saying, you know, will this perform? Yes, it will perform. Absolutely. The build quality is there. The hardware is all there. Everything about the hardware is fantastic. You may not like the design of some of these features here, but it doesn't make it a bad laptop. it is actually a very compelling laptop. The software is a problem, for sure. Even now, we're going into 2024, the software is a problem. Corsair didn't do any favors for this laptop by just having kind of outdated drivers and kind of some weird quirks. But if you are somewhat tech savvy, you don't have to be like a computer genius, but you do have to be a little bit tech savvy or willing to go on some forums. You can get a lot of the bloat and crap off of this laptop here. And then it does actually perform very well. I'm getting outstanding battery. The actual performance is there. Keyboard, fantastic. Screen, good. There's no real problems with it, but just the software there. So that's something you have to be aware of. Even as it is right now, without the best support that there is, I think it's actually a fantastic laptop if you can get it for a good price. 1,000 Canadian dollars was actually a steal, like robbery of Amazon to get this laptop. And it wasn't even a price error. That was just the price. If you can get it for even 1,500 Canadian, I think even that is a really good price for this laptop here. But I would still like to see Corsair give this laptop a little bit more love. Sure, it's end of life, but just get those drivers out. Do a quick refresh of this laptop here. Get those fresh drivers out, and then you can really extend the life of this laptop. And it gives more faith in the fact that Corsair is making this fantastic laptop package with outstanding hardware, absolutely outstanding hardware. They just need to nail the software. I'm okay to deal with some of the quirks, and I want to see if it's going to mature over time. And, if Corsair is there to support this laptop and other laptops in the future, I think it's actually a pretty compelling competitor in this market. And it's always nice to see more competitors in the market. Corsair has something really nice here. I just hope that the software comes together for them.